What's up, tubers? Tio here, Simplistic Fishing, coming back at you tonight to talk to you about how we did on Lake Palestine in the tournament out of there. We didn't do great, but we didn't do horrible, so we'll talk to you about that. I want to show you guys the spots that worked, the spots that didn't, kind of the patterns that were working, and give you an update on that. And then I also want to let you guys know about the Ray Hubbard Bass Club Open that's on Lake Ray Hubbard this Saturday. So you got to get out there. You don't have to be a member. You can go out there, you can do the tournament, and then hopefully you'll like us enough to be a member and be part of the club. So go out and check that out. Unfortunately, I won't be there this weekend, but all of the guys from the club will be there, so I'm sure that you will enjoy it. But anyways, let's jump into it tonight, and let's go talk about Lake Palestine, and then we'll finish it up talking about some helpful hints, I guess you could say, or some tips and tricks on Lake Ray Hubbard. Let's roll. Let's go ahead first off and let's jump into Google Earth and let's look at Lake Palestine from the Google Earth side. We'll talk about some of the stuff I talked about earlier, and I'll give you guys kind of a rundown of how things went on the update for Lake Palestine. I do want to give you a quick update though. I'm gonna miss the Ray Hubbard one that's coming up this weekend. There's an open on Ray Hubbard this Saturday, so anybody can join it. Just go out there and join them. It's down at Chandler's Landing. Look it up. RHBC is our bass club, Ray Hubbard Bass Club. You can look it out on the Texas Fishing Forum, or pretty much find it just by doing a Google search. So go check that out. That one's going to be on Ray Hubbard. And then the next one is actually going to be on Lake of the Pines. I'm going to miss that one too, but we're going to talk about both of those, don't worry. So let's go ahead and let's talk about Palestine here, and then we'll roll in and I'll talk to you guys a little bit about Hubbard and give you guys some pointers on Hubbard. So let's go ahead and go in here to Texas. And let's go down here to Lake Palestine. I just want to show you guys real quick how things went on Palestine. So you can see I have a My Palestine. We're not going to look at that. We're going to look at the regular Palestine. That My Palestine's secret. I can't show you guys that. If I showed it to you, then yeah, I don't know. I'd have to take the channel down or something. I don't know. But just kidding. Let's go ahead and take a look at this. So I told you guys last time that if I were fishing up here, I really wanted to get up in here into the Kickapoo and get up around maybe that bridge in 31, or come up here on the Netchez arm and focus on some of these bends and turns, and then come up here and throw a rattle trap or spinner bait or something like that and go through there. Well, what happened was the weekend right before I went, there were huge rainstorm. We got tons and tons of rain. So this was all basically washed out. It was mud up here and it was mud up here. So pre-fishing wise, my buddy that actually went out and pre-fished, he could not basically find anything up here because it was just super muddy, right? Didn't even bother messing with it because it was so bad. And even up in here, in this little area here, this old man's area, still was just very chocolatey. So when I got there on Friday, I was like, do I want to waste, I only have one day to pre-fish. Do I want to waste my time coming up here and seeing if I can find anything and see if it's clear enough, or should I just more focus my attention on down around where we're launching, which we actually launched down at Ledbetter Bay, which is down here. Well, make a long story short, I definitely decided to stay down here around this area, see what I could find, and then decided if I can find anything, I'll stay here. If not, then I'll bail out and I'll try to go up top. So of course, the way all tournament fishes go, anytime you're pre-fishing, things always go wrong. And so I get out there, and Shannon, my buddy that had done most of the pre-fishing, he had found some stuff offshore. So he had found some stuff off of this point, just some schooling fish, chasing some shad. He found them off a couple of these offshore points down here. And then definitely down in this area, found a few down in here. Down here where we have these offshore spots. So we knew we had a couple offshore spots. It was just, were they going to stay there or not, because the weather was changing like crazy. One weekend it's raining like crazy. The weekend we were there, I think it was 80 something degrees. So it was definitely a lot warmer. The water temps pretty much were in the high 50s. Every once in a while you could get into the back of some of these places and find water actually in 60-degree water temp. But everything changed as soon as we left. We hit a cold front. It's warmed up a little bit now, and now we're going to hit another cold front tomorrow, or actually Tuesday this week, where it's going to probably dip those water temperatures back down again. So real quick, as far as what we did, I guess first off I'll tell you the tournament was won with two big fish that came out of this area right here, out of Kickapoo. I think there was a 9 and an 8 or something like that. It was crazy. I don't know. We'll look at the results here in a minute, but it was 2 big fish and then 3 small fish. A lot of people got the small fish. A lot of us were able to catch small fish. Very few people were able to get those kickers. The ones that caught the kickers were the ones that were in the top 10. It was a total of 36 boats. But again, we'll get the pull up the results here in a minute. We'll talk about those. But the winners were fishing up here, which really kills me because I just did a video with you guys 2 weeks ago and said, I think they're going to be up here. I really like the Netchez arm. I was going to focus on there, but the winner came out of here, and it usually does. It comes out of one of these 2 areas, but not all the time. But that's a pretty key area. With springtime, this Kickapoo arm just seems to kick out some giants. So here's what I did. I started down here at Ledbetter. I thought that was going to be all chocolatey, so I didn't waste my time. I came out first, I launched right here at Lake Palestine Resort. And of course, first thing I did is I traveled over here and I looked at this bridge. I didn't even scan it because when I looked at it, there were like 2 boats on it already. And last time that we fished this, I found fish on this Ledbetter Bridge right here, but they were not consistent. They would move in and they would move out. And plus the pressure there was just crazy. So I was like, you know what? I'm not going to do that. And as I'm going across there, I realize my side scan has stopped working. So that's great. So now with the boat, I've got more issues. I've got no side scan. So all the stuff that we talked to you guys about this offshore stuff, it's going to be really hard for me to find a school official as I go over right at the top of them because I have no side scan. So I'm thinking, crap, I have no side scan. It's early spring, like pretty much late winter. Maybe I can find them shallow. If I can find them shallow, I'll just stay shallow the rest of the time. So first thing I did was I came over here and I was thinking about going into the back of the creek back here, but my thought was, let's see if I can find them at the front of the creek, because I didn't think they would be all the way back yet because it was still early February. And I just got super lucky. I came right here. I did just the basic of all basics, threw on a rattle trap and came here and started just past this ramp and started working these docks right in this area. And I probably got 2 or 3 cast in and got my first fish. And I was like, oh, sweet. Now, I'm not talking big fish. We're not talking 3, 4, 5 pounders, anything like that. We're talking like just keeper size fish. But it was a good sign, right? I got a bite, so something was working. The wind was also blowing into this direction. That's also another reason why I wanted to come fish this bank line as opposed to maybe trying something, back in here. With that wind blowing in here, I thought if there's going to be any bait in this bay, it's going to all push this way into this bank line, and that's hopefully where the fish are going to be. So that's where I went. I went with the wind, and I started catching a few more fish. I actually caught like 3 or 4 fish just right here in this little row. I caught 2 right in here on this corner where this rock is. I caught 1 in between these docks, and I think I caught another one here. So what's that? 4 fish within about, 25, 30 minutes. And then I came over here. Of course, I'm back here, right? I think I told you guys that earlier, but as I'm coming down the bank line, I'm staying way out here, right? I'm not getting like right up on these docks. I'm staying a little bit farther out here and I'm making super long casts and I'm dragging them back, and I'm making a super long cast and I'm dragging it back, and I'm making a super long cast, just enough to where I can get to the bank. That's how far away I'd have the boat. And those with those rattle traps, those lipless crankbaits is what I was throwing, red ones, you can chuck them. So I come over here and I get probably about right in here or so, and there's a lot of brush or something. There's something on the bottom here. I can't tell what it is, but it moves your rattle trap. If you're throwing it slow enough and cranking it slow enough, you can feel it just ticking. And I don't know if it's some kind of vegetation or what it is, but you can feel it ticking in here. We caught a few fish in here too during the tournament as well. But right here, I casted from probably the corner of this dock. I casted all the way across this point, and I kept bringing it back this way. And I cast across, and I bring it back this way. And on about my 4th or 5th cast of casting across and bringing it back this way, I got a thunk. I mean, a hard thunk. And I'm bringing this thing in, and I know it's like a fisherman's tail. I'm getting it close to the boat. I'm like, oh my gosh, I got a giant. Not like a giant. It wasn't a 10 or 12 pounder or anything like that, but it was a good, 6, 7 pounder, and got her right to the boat. And right when she gets there, she snaps her head, and that freaking lipless crankbait just pops right off. And I miss her. But I was like, it's probably a good thing. It was the day before the tournament. Hopefully there's some bigger fish in here, because so far I had caught a bunch of small ones. So this definitely was one spot that we were going to focus on for the tournament. And that's usually what I would do. You know, even when we fished the high school tournaments, we'd come out here, I would find 4 or 5 spots, and that's all we'd fish during tournament day. We'd just hammer those same spots where we knew there were fish. So I got lucky. First spot, boom, I'm on some fish. So I marked that as a good spot. Then I come out of there and I come down here and I go out more towards the main lake. And I was like, okay, let's see if there's anything. They were towards the front of that creek. Let's see if they're still out here towards the main lake. Because, you know, like I said, my buddy had said there's some fish out here towards the main lake on the main lake points schooling up. So I knew there's some schoolers out there, but are they actually pulling in towards the bank line? Well, I pulled in right here, and you can't tell, but there's some rock right here. And I thought I had marked it on here, and apparently I didn't. I must have found it at a different time, but let's see if I can pull it back. I think those trees make it to where you can't see it. They do. I'm not going to be able to show it to you, but there is some rock that's right here. It's right on the edge of this dock. It's right in here. And what I did is I pulled up about right in here or so, and the wind again was kind of blowing this way across that, so there was just a little bit of a ripple, not a lot, because this house is blocking a lot of it. I ended up catching 2 fish right here. One of them was a spot, and the other one was just a regular keeper largemouth. So I was like, all right, I've caught some more fish. I'm like, man, everywhere I go, I catch fish. Again, I'm just throwing a lipless crankbait again. And then I think I actually came back here later on that day and checked out one more time with a shaky head and caught one off a shaky head here too. I did not catch anything off that point. So then I came down here and I was like, all right, let's try this stuff. Well, I tried these pond dams. I tried this debris. I came down here. I went back in here and I checked out this ditch. I did a lot of stuff, guys. I covered a ton of water that day. And I basically got to about, I don't know, I may have even got down around in here. And I was like, you know what? This is just not working. I was on fish up here as soon as I started. And as soon as I left that area, I just went basically nil. I didn't catch anything. I didn't get any bites or anything. So I turned back around and I came back up here. And instead of going into Ledbetter, I decided I'm going to make a run up the flat. So I come up here and I make the run up the flat. I actually use the lane that comes out here. And by the way, if you need the boat lanes for Palestine, they're out there on the website. And I come up here and I get to right in here, and I almost turned, and I almost wish I would have, because these 2 spots right in here look like really juicy points. And I guarantee they're probably good spots to look right now that were pre-spawn. I can see them staging up there. I just never got time to go check those out, but those 2 look good. Let's talk about what I did. I went ahead and ran all the way up here, and I ran up to Flat Creek. And what I did on Flat, the first thing I came in here to this underwater bridge that was right here. And I put on an A-rig, and I kid you not, I'd barely gotten my trolling motor into the water and could just barely see the underwater bridge on the live scope. And I see a school of bait and about 3 or 4 big fish like right below them, maybe 4 or 5 feet below the water. I threw out there and immediately I caught a fish. I caught him, I unhooked him. He was probably a 3-pounder, maybe 2.5, 3-pounder. Went back up there, scanned back over to where I could see the bridge. I could still see the school of fish, cast that out again, and I caught another one, and that one was probably only like 2.5 pounds. So as soon as I caught those 2, I left. I was like, well, man, that is a money spot. And again, if you're paying attention to what I've been talking about, I was at the front of the creek, right? In Ledbetter, I was at the front of the creek when I caught the fish. Same thing that I was in Flat. Now, in Kickapoo, they may have been in the back when they caught those big ones. I'm just kind of telling you how my pattern was working, was definitely towards the front. So I caught them there, and I was like, you know what? I'm not going to go back out Main Lake, because last time I went back out Main Lake, I basically started missing out. I just wasn't catching anything. So I decided I was going to go back up in Flat, and I would go all the way back up here to this island, and then maybe work my way back. The wind was coming this way. So work my way back into the wind and maybe just check out this bank line, throw the rattle trap around, see what I can find. I literally went from the top of here all the way down to here, and I think I caught 1 fish, and it was like a little tiny dink. So by then, it was about 5 o'clock. I was totally screwed. I had basically this bridge right here. I had this point that was out here on Ledbetter, and then I had those docks. I basically had 3 spots. And so that's basically what we did for the tournament. We went out, we tried a couple of these offshore spots, but we didn't spend much time with them. It was without side scan. It was basically just blind casting. But we caught all of our fish right here, and unfortunately we made one run all the way up the flat right during the prime feeding time, right? We were watching for the prime feeding time. We're like, we're gonna hit that bridge right at prime feeding time. We roll up there and that thing is a ghost town. There's not a single fish on it. So we fished around there a little bit, bailed back out, and really we just rotated in Ledbetter. We just went back and forth between these docks, focusing on this area right here. And then we'd leave Ledbetter, we'd come out here and we'd focus in on this area, and then we'd go back, and we went back and forth, and that ended up getting us 6th place out of 36. Nothing too great, but as you'll see in the pictures, we got a 6.5 pounder, which was our kicker, and that definitely helped us a ton. So real quick, before we get out of here, let's go take a look at the results real quick from the Ray Hubbard Bass Club website, and then we're gonna switch over and talk about Ray Hubbard. All right, let's jump over real quick to the Ray Hubbard Bass Club page, just give you a quick recap of the tournament. You can see here, this was the big bag, 22.62 pounds. Their bag included a 9.75 pound beast. You can also see they had a nice other kicker there too. So really, really good bag by those gentlemen. Congratulations. You can see here's a couple of other pictures. Lots of small fish, right? Lots of the same size. There's a couple bigger ones there. Tom's got a nice one as well. Couple big ones there. There's a nice toad. Man, that one looks good. Couple decent ones there. Jeremy, there's our 6.5 pounder. So some really good ones. Here were the overall results. So you can see here we got 6th place with 5 fish at 13-14. Nothing too impressive, but at least we hung in there with the top of the field. And we didn't get goose eggs, so that's always a good thing. So let's go ahead and switch over real quick now, and let's talk about Ray Hubbard, because that tournament is coming up this weekend, and I'm sure you guys are going to want to get some tips. All right, let's wrap up this video by talking a little bit about planning for Ray Hubbard. Now, I'll try not to give away too many of my secrets here, but I'm gonna give you guys some good stuff, so hopefully you're paying attention. This is my home lake, so definitely know a little bit about this lake. But if it's me and I'm fishing next weekend, which I'm not, unfortunately I've gotta go out on a business trip, but if it was me, I would definitely focus more of my attention north of I-30. So I'm thinking anything here or north, that's probably where I'm going to put most of my attention. Now, that's not to say that you're not going to be able to come down here and catch fish. You definitely are. We can talk about some of the key spots down there, but for right now, let's talk about I'm going to talk to you about how I would approach it if I was going out there. So first thing I'm going to do, depending on the weather, how it goes this week, and hopefully we don't get too much rain, and the river stays a little bit clean, I'm probably going to head to the river first. You can see here we do have a path out there on simplisticfishing.com. If you get the card, it has a path that takes you to the river. You got to be careful coming up here, but this will take you to the river. And once you get up in the river, then basically, it's game on. It's spring fishing up there. Hopefully the water temperatures will hold and they'll stay around the 50s, and you can get up here and really have some fun. So I'm probably going to come up here and probably do some flipping and pitching. See if I get any bites doing that. But starting off, I'm definitely going to go out there with a rattle trap and some type of a hybrid hunter, or maybe even those like DT4s or DT6s, right? Something that's a skinnier little crankbait that I can throw around, and I'm just gonna try to cover as much water as possible. And that typically during this time of year is a really, really good pattern. You can go right or you can go left, either way. They're both good areas. We have a lot of success on the right side sometimes, and then it seems like the very next year, the right side goes dead, and we got to go down here to the left side and find somewhere on one of these bends or something where the hot spots are. So you just never know when you're up here, but it's definitely a good area to go fishing. If I was fishing mid-February, this weekend, I would definitely put this on my spot to go check out. Without a doubt for sure. So then coming out of there, if you don't want to run up to the river, you're gonna have to come down here and find some other things, right? So first thing on Hubbard is every time you go out to Hubbard, the riprap, there's tons of it, and there's tons of fish on the riprap. So if you're struggling anywhere on this lake at all, trying to find fish, you can always go out to the riprap and find fish. They're just there. I'm telling you, they're there all the time. So depending on the wind direction on Saturday, how that's coming into the riprap would depend on what side of the riprap that I'm going to fish. So if you've got south wind, I'm going to fish the south side where the wind's blowing into the rocks. If you got north wind, I'm going to try to fish the north side, but this would be very hard because there's pillars down here. There's not a lot of room. If you get a lot of movement on the water, there's not a lot of room between you and the rocks, so it can get kind of dangerous in there. But definitely a good area to, again, go throw crankbaits, go throw that hybrid hunter, go through the DT4, go through the DT6, and don't forget about the rattle trap. The rattle trap is just, it's the deal right now. It's super easy to throw. You can cover a ton of water with it, and you can really catch a lot of fish. Now, for you guys that like to live scope, I would definitely look around the pillars on 66 and see what you can find there. A lot of times they'll school up out there. There's a lot of good bait out there, and it's definitely a good place to look. Now, moving up in here, I'm not gonna give away every spot because it'll take me forever to talk to you guys about, but just a couple spots I would check out. I would look at this underwater bridge out here that's off this point. You know, maybe they're going here before they start to migrate back. So I would definitely check out that area. You know, anybody that's seen me out on Hubbard, I'm going to be under 30 a lot. 30 is a really good area to look. And then again, depending on the wind, if the wind's coming from the north, I may fish this side of the riprap. If the wind's coming from the south, I may get up here. This is a lot harder now though, because we've got a lot of extra pillars and stuff like that. There is some stuff up in here though. Just look at your map, your contour map, and every once in a while you'll see this jet out into like a little, I don't know what it is, like a little point that would be out there. Fish around those little areas that jet out, and also look for brush piles around those areas that jet out. Now, we're coming over here. I told you north of 30, so we're just going to zoom around here. I'm not saying this isn't going to be a good area to fish, because I'm sure it will be, but if I'm trying to save time, so I'm going to zoom over here. And the next place I would go, and I don't think we talked about it a lot on our videos, is I was actually going to try to come up in here, and I may even do this tomorrow. Maybe I can, and I can get it on some video. But I want to check this out. Believe it or not, I've never actually been up in this area right in here the whole entire time I've lived in Rockwall. So it's either going to really suck and I'm going to look like an idiot, or maybe I'm going to find some stuff up here. But I was looking at the contour map, and what I found up here is there's lots of trees, number one. So you can't see them here, but there is a lot of trees up here, so I got to be careful. There's lots of brush. There's a creek channel that comes through here. It's called Long Branch, and I really like the way this looks and the way it sets up and the way it faces north. But the other thing that I really liked is it says there's a submerged bridge or a culvert out here. Now, I don't know if there is or not. All you guys that live in Hubbard are probably like, man, this guy's never fished that area. I can't believe it. It's crazy, but anyways, I'm gonna go up there. I'm gonna try it out. So that's one area I would try out as well. I'm not really gonna mess around with back in here. Maybe come back here and try this old marina that's back here. I've caught a few fish back in here, but it might be too early for that. I'm not sure. Maybe check that out if I had time. If not, I'm probably gonna run down here, check around these bridges as well, and check around that riprap, and that's probably gonna do it for the day. So if that's me planning for Hubbard, that's probably what I'm gonna do for the day. Now, if something happens and I can't go north and I had to go south, obviously all of the marinas and Chandlers are good areas to fish. Also, if you come back here around the power plant area and you get back here in this area, they like to collect right in here, and this could be a good little area to find them right now before they go back in here and spawn, or maybe just up in these trees somewhere or something, maybe somewhere right in there. Might be a good area to find them. Obviously, again, the marinas are good. Both marinas here are good, and then Chandler's is good as well. And then if you really want to get down here, which I think the water's going to be a lot colder down here, it's going to be a little bit harder to find, but you may be able to find them back in what we call Money Cove. You may be able to find them somewhere out in here. I would probably try this little opening first, if they're going to collect before they go back there. So this is probably an area where they're going to collect at. So anyways, just a couple spots for you to find. Hopefully you don't have everybody that watched this video hit those same spots at the same time, but some things to think about when you're out there on Hubbard. Guys, I wish you the best of luck. Even if you're not part of the Ray Hubbard Bass Club, don't forget, you can go out there. I go out to their website, Ray Hubbard Bass Club. You'll see the dates for the tournaments this Saturday. You can meet up at Chandler's Landing, and you can be part of something special. So anyways, go out and check it out, guys. And until next time, I hope you catch your PB. Take it easy.